Hey movie fans, Bored now back with you. On this video I returned to 1984 season, and today I'm going to be talking about a French movie called One Deadly Summer. It is directed by Becker. Probably his most famous film is My Afternoons with Marguerite from 2010. Starring Gerard Depardieu. One Deadly Summer stars Isabelle Adjani as Elena, a carefree, confident young girl who breezes into a small coastal town and starts up a relationship with local farm boy Lamento, played by Alan Shanamol. He is a mechanic and volunteers as a firefighter, lives on the farm with his family, who are still recovering from the tragic loss of his father. So he lives with his mother and brother on the farm. So the father died in the last few years, and the Isabelle Adjani character has moved there with her mother and her disabled father. And there's speculation around town around her because she seems to have this mysterious quality about her where she's quite aloof and sort of, mysterious and kind of quirky, but she also has this sexual confidence, and it's kind of sexual confidence ahead of her years. So she starts up a relationship with the more kind of shy, modest Flamanto, and that really blossoms, and sort of halfway through the film they get married, so it's building towards that, and it all happens kind of fast, and it turns out there is a hidden agenda which relates to a dark family secret for the Elena character, and part of the mystery is to do with the family piano which Filamento's family has, which at one point she goes and looks at in like the cellar of the farmhouse, and it was a piano which was delivered all those years ago. But that's the mystery of the film, exactly what the dark secrets is from this character's past, from her family history, and what exactly her motivations are. So it's a funny sort of film, really, because the first half of the film definitely feels more like kind of this quirky, playful, this kind of French surreal type romantic drama comedy in many ways. Like, as I said, there is a carefree sort of nature to it. It's very sexy at times. As I said, the Isabelle Adjani character is very like sexually confident. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of quite bawdy talk, but it also has this like offbeat, quirky sort of feel to it, which a lot of French films do. But for the first half, I thought it was going to be that. It was just going to be like this relationship type thing, and that's where the main drama would be. But then as things develop, you start to see, okay, there is something else going on here. And when the secret is revealed in the middle of the film and things go from there, it turns into like a much darker film, which makes sense because of the title, One Deadly Summer, and it's all set over the one summer. But I think they do handle the change quite well. Like, it does feel quite natural, and because it goes in some surprising directions also, then that's definitely in the film's favour, because I was quite enjoying it as it was, but it was a bit odd, and I was wondering, okay, where is this leading exactly? And I don't know if it would have been as good if it had just stayed like the way it was. And it is a bit of a like this weird sort of mixed bag because of the tonal shift, but like I said, I think they handle the tonal shift really well, and there's some intriguing mystery elements once you get into it. My only thing with it is then I do think at times it's a bit exploitative, and it seems like because in the first half of the film, as I said, there's a lot of sex talk because like between the two brothers, and then I think a friend of Flormonto's, like they're talking about girls and stuff like that, and then there's stuff going on with the Isabelle Adjani character, and some of her stuff is kind of very raunchy, even though she plays this quite aloof character who's seemingly in control, but like, yeah, some of her stuff felt quite explicit. And then when you get into the stuff later on, because the big reveal is then Fleur Montal is like related to or has connections to these three guys who raped Isabelle Adjani's character Elena's mother in the past, like these three delivery men from Italy. So the piano was being delivered to his family, basically. So that's where the connection is. So she's here and she's in this relationship with him to try and get information and try and find out who exactly her father is. And that's what the reveal is. Also, she's in like this relationship with like this woman as well. So it shows that she probably is bisexual. And that's going on. Like, it's like this local maid, and there's a flirtation between her. And I will say, I do think that's where her true feelings are overall, even though she claims that she does love Filamento. Because it's one of these things with those characters where it always feels like a doomed relationship, and you've got all this history, and it's just one of those things where even though like her character, she's only like 19 at the start of the film, and she has a birthday during the film, so turns 20, but she's very young and wide-eyed, and she's there for one particular reason. But then when at one point, like, she's being told, okay, stay on book, this is what you're here for, she's like, I don't care about this stuff, I love him, I'm gonna marry him. So she's being warned not to get too wrapped up in her feelings. So if you believe what she says at one point, then it does seem then she does love him. And because they go all the way through with it and get married, then maybe she does a bit. But it's one of those, I think it came across at least than... The woman herself, the maid, is much older as well, but like I got the impression that maybe that's who she was truly in love with. Maybe not, but the point I was going to make is that I do think it is a bit explicit, like because the stuff with the rape is very unsettling, and it was at that point in the film where I was like, because they show you it in a flashback, it was like, okay, oh wow, yeah, this has suddenly gone dark. So it does balance a little bit of that, where it's like, is this quite the same film? But they do handle it pretty well. Like, it feels quite natural when you're watching it. But the rape scene, again, was a bit explicit. Like, it was a bit more explicit than it had to be. It didn't really feel that necessary. And there are certain scenes like that where they're just, not only are they explicit, but they're quite uncomfortable, because at one point when Elena approaches this man who she suspects could be her father, the one who raped her mother, and it led to her being born. But he says it's not him. Like, he's the one who sent them out to do the delivery, but he wasn't actually one of them who raped the mother. But like at one point, she's sort of going undercover and pretending that, yeah, okay, because she, like, her job in the town is a teacher, but like she pretends to get close to him, and like she wants to meet him in private, basically, later that night. But then he's like feeling her up, and she's sort of going along with it up to a point, but she's trying to get him to meet her later so that she can then approach him about the stuff, because it's at his workplace. But just a scene like that, again, it felt like that could have been a bit more tastefully done. Like, it didn't really feel like you had to make it so full on. It didn't really serve a purpose. You could have just, like, it's one thing maybe have a flirt with him a bit and say, okay, meet me later, and then he meets her later. But yeah, that didn't really feel like you needed that to be that explicit. So that and the rape scene were just things where I think they could have been more tastefully done. And there's just certain things about, like, the way Elena's character is portrayed, which made me question, yeah, this is written by a man, because the screenwriter is a man and it's from his novel as well. But I know sometimes it's too easy to fall into that. But, and I'm not saying it is sexist, but there were just certain things. I mean, with certain things, as I said, the rape and that, and then that other scene, it's not necessarily that it's sexist so much. It's just that maybe they're going for shock factor a bit much, and you didn't have to show quite so much. Like, it didn't really serve any more of a purpose, and ended up just being a little bit cringe. But I will say, to be fair, the Isabelle Adjani, Elena, that character does have some pretty good character growth, and because you follow her all along and you see the mystery unfold through her eyes, and she's quite, like, on the one hand she comes across as quite confident, but that's partly because she's trying to draw this guy in and she's on a mission, but, like, there's real vulnerability to her. And Adjani is a really good actress. Like, she's really good at making you care about her characters, and yeah, just, you really believe in her in the movie. So she is very good, and I think the co-lead as well, Alan Shalom, it's pretty solid as well. Like, he's well cast and they have pretty good chemistry. And I think in the early part of the film, they were selling it in some ways, like their chemistry and their performances was selling it. And then it's only once you get deeper into the movie, you realise there's a bit more to this. And there's certain quirky things about her in, like, the first half, like how she can really count very highly, and that's kind of her skill. And they kind of have this emotional moment where she gets upset and they're counting together, and that's just one of those sort of, like, almost like Arthouse quirky type things, which like a character in one of these movies will do. But overall, I think it's a strong movie. I just had one or two question marks about it, and I would like to watch it again, but I would definitely say it was a strong movie. And I appreciated the mystery side of it. Then there was this whole backstory. And I thought the way they revealed the mystery elements and kept you guessing a little bit with certain things. And sort of with the characters' relationship, because, like, as things went along, I did believe that maybe she had fallen for him at least. And I mean, he loved her, that was clear. But, like, I felt that she had fallen for him. But how much so and how much of it was an act was up for debate. And we see as things go on, it gets a bit more complicated, and their marriage is on the rocks pretty much from the start, almost because she, like, feels guilty, and she's on her own mission because she goes to seek out her father in the wheelchair. She then goes to try and get answers from the three men involved before she finally finds out who the father was. There's a twist where it's revealed that her father, or at least the one in the wheelchair, the one who she's always called father, how he actually knew about the guys originally and how he killed them years ago. So in a way, all this has been for fame because they've been dead for a while. But I also quite like that little detail that she mentions. And in some ways, it makes it even worse than they've been dead for years, and me finding out like this. So that was quite well done. The mystery elements I thought were very well done, and it was quite a surprising film, which I appreciated because I did think for a while it was just going to be this quirky sort of surreal type French romance comedy, and probably one I was going to quite enjoy, but then it wouldn't be much more than that. So I did appreciate the way it changed things up. There was just 2 or 3 scenes which I thought could have been a bit better handled. Because also there's another really rough scene where Filamento finds out that she's been lied to, like she lied about getting pregnant at one point. And he beats her really badly, like in a really graphic way. He slaps her several times. And his family have to like get him off her. And yeah, I mean it was a powerful scene, but also again, it was a bit much. Like, would this character do that? Like, but I don't know. It was a well done scene, but again, I was a bit like, yeah, do we really need this film? And then the ending was okay because once he gets wind of what happened, he goes on a rampage. So I'm not sure if after this their relationship is going to last or not, because she keeps going off and then he finds out the truth about what's been happening. But yeah, he goes and shoots everyone involved, basically. So shoots the 3 guys. Or at least, he shoots... I forget who he shoots. I know he shoots the one who sent them to do the delivery in the past. He shoots someone else as well. I forget who now. But basically anyone who's still alive and involved, he shoots. And it's like, okay, I didn't see that coming. But I think it's just showing you maybe in some ways the masculinity of like that kind of character. And he's been trapped in this small town, and like suddenly these things come to the surface. But okay, interesting ending. I mean, it's an ending I didn't really expect. But yeah, that's One Deadly Summer. That's it's on Amazon Prime, by the way, in the UK anyway. I'm not sure, you might have to search it out if you're in a different part of the world, but at least in the UK it's on Amazon Prime, and it's definitely worth a look. I think overall it's a strong film. It's just 1 or 2 question marks I had about it, so I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I won't go too high just now because it is a first time watch, and like I said, there's a couple of things about it I was unsure, but yeah, a good film overall, I would definitely say. The lead performances really carried it at times, and then you had the darker stuff that comes in later, which I thought were well handled, really. Overall, like I said, the rape scene was a bit much, and a couple of scenes didn't have to be quite as explicit, but the darker stuff and some of the twists were well handled, I thought. So yeah, that's One Deadly Summer, my latest 1984 season review. So next time on 1984 season, I go from one extreme to the other, and I'm going to revisit the Supergirl movie starring Helen Slater. So the question is, will it be an ultimate guilty pleasure, or will it be an absolute turkey? Tune in next time to 1984 season to find out. And that's as voted for you guys, by the way. If you want to support the channel monetarily, you can either do it at patreon.com/borednow for just $1 a month, or you can sign up for channel memberships, 3 different tiers, with a variety of bonuses across those tiers, and you can do that on the channel. Also, I'll put the link in this video. But thanks for listening, guys. Keep watching movies. Let me know what you think of this movie if you've seen it in the comments. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon. Goodbye.
Et quelqu'un?
Quelqu'un?